For those of you who don't know me, I kind of stay behind the scenes, I feel like, a little bit. But I got into marketing over 10 years ago. I started on Fiverr. So if you all want to see how I started, you can search Garrett Mehrguth Fiverr market research, and you're going to see a bushy-eyed 21-year-old kid doing his master's, trying to figure this all out. And since then, we've been able to build Directive. And Directive is more of a culmination of, I'm of the deep belief that if we sell anything to you, I can do it for me first. And I don't think there's anything harder than marketing B2B services that have a high ticket price. So everything in this presentation is stuff that we put our own money and effort into and proven that works before we ever introduce it to you. So I'm going to walk you through why we do it, how we do it, what I've learned, what worked, what didn't, how we got here. And it really is just 10 years of trying to be the best in the world at marketing. What motivates humans? Why do they do what they do? How do we allocate our capital? How do we manage teams? How do we integrate product marketing and sales? How do we win the game of marketing? And I'm going to try to show you everything I've learned, and hopefully you can apply it to yourself and take something away today. So we launched customer generation about 18 months ago. We needed to grow. I was stuck. COVID had hit us, and we couldn't really grow the organization. We knew who we wanted to serve. We knew we could create value for them, but it's difficult to go get your ideal customers. Like, who here just can go say, I want this customer, and can go get them? That's what we all want to do, right? Like, that's the game we're playing, and we're all in this kind of B2B sector where we don't need more customers. We need more of the right customers, and getting them is actually quite difficult. And so I'm pretty proud of this. And it did transform our company. It did take us from a $6 million organization to a $20 million plus organization, almost purely from go-to-market marketing. So it's not like a fake thing. We spend millions of dollars on our own marketing every year and try to essentially learn before we talk to you about it. So if I'm going to recommend something to you, I've definitely been able to get to work for myself. What we got to understand is, how do we beat the competition, and what are our current realities we're facing today? And it's really important to understand that. And I want to take us all the way back to Peter Drucker, famous kind of business mogul, but he says very clearly, the purpose of business is to create a customer. It's not MQLs, it's not pipeline, it's not leads. We need actual customers. That's what's going to get us promoted. That's what's going to get us next place in our career. That's what's going to help our organizations grow. We need to create customers. But the stakes have never been higher. We're in a weird little situation, and I'm going to look at those, right? Look at these. Macroeconomics, we have inflation, interest rates. We've got the pandemic and the Great Resignation. I think we got hit by both of those back to back. Not exactly fun time to be in leadership, right? Our teams are constantly changing. Organizations are moving. We're working with vendors, and our point of contact keeps changing, and it's difficult, right? We've got new things like AI and TikTok. I have a TikTok now that Scarlett helps me manage. I don't know what I'm doing on there, but I got to learn it. I got to stay relevant, right? We're all in this thing where the world is moving fast. HubSpot did a really amazing survey with a bunch of CMOs in the space, and over 78% agree that marketing has changed more in the past 3 years than in the past 50. In other words, like, we could run these lead gen ads, we could get people to download the asset, we send it to our SCR team, they call, oh, nobody picked up, they weren't interested, they hadn't read the asset yet, and we literally could not monetize a very high-performing marketing campaign. We couldn't monetize. And so we then started to personify it. Why not just make it the CMO's guide to demand gen? So we'd only target CMOs. Now we're converting literally 75% on LinkedIn, and I still can't monetize. So we came up with this concept of what happened if we just deleted the middle. And so what we tried to do instead was something different. How do I get a human on social media who's doing something else to decide I'm ready for a meeting? Marketing has to be efficient. Who here had their budget reduced in the last 3 months? Who here has the same exact goals as they had 3 months ago? You get what I'm saying? This is a real reality we're living in, where we have the same outcomes we have to accomplish, but we have less resources to do it with. And so this is our solution to that, and it's called customer generation. It helps us get to the point where our capital allocation is either going at a CPM level, where we're way more efficient at articulating our brand, its value, and who it exists for, and then way more effective at getting humans from apathy to action. How do I get someone who's currently not wanting this to decide, I will give you my time and I now want this? And in that moment, that's where we're going to create traction and growth in our organizations and in our marketing departments. Brand versus performance. as if there's a right answer to this. It's not brand versus, it's brand and. It's, okay, I got these people really good at these channels, right? So we need to be equipped with better tools that solve the realities that we're all stuck in every day. I get the blessing of kind of playing chief revenue officer at Directive. And so I'm working with sales, I'm working with finance, I'm working with product, I'm working with marketing, and we're trying to figure out, how do we create growth for ourselves? It's the same game, right? And the first thing is first-party data. We have so much waste in our go-to-market strategy because we're relying on someone else's data. And all we have to do then is we only get the output. We never get to validate the input. In other words, we have to wait till sales says, was that a good lead or not, instead of knowing it was a good lead before we ever spent on it. That's a very different concept. And so the first thing we're going to do together, we're going to build a data provider, okay? We have the blessing of working with ZoomInfo. I think they're great, but some of these other players work quite well, especially if you're in your tech, like Crunchbase, Seamless, Clearbit. Any of these providers are terrific. Data categorization is exceptionally hard. So the first thing that we're going to choose a data provider, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go through our current portfolio. We're going to look at our current customers, and we're going to enrich them. So who here has a list of all your customers, but maybe hasn't enriched it yet? You guys know what enriching is? Like filling out all their firmographic data, employee size, tech used, all these different things. So then what we do is we can run what's kind of like a regression analysis to see what character traits of your ideal customer persona make them statistically more significant to fit within your ICP. This is the most important part of going to market these days. We do not have to guess anymore. So what we are literally going to do is we're going to look at our exact customers, and we're going to figure out exactly what makes them better, who we retain the most, who we're the most multi-threaded with, aka most products or services sold into, who has the greatest AOV, what segments have the highest gross margin, which then allows for EBITDA and cash flow to reinvest in top-line revenue growth. And we're going to start to piece apart exactly what makes someone a great fit for our business. So I built a tool of over 20,000 tech companies that we monthly manage. You guys can look it up. It's called Pulse on our website. It has over 400 categories of SaaS. And we're able to actually see exactly who's spending the most in every category. Then I can tier the entire tech ecosystem based on ad spend and decide who's worth spending the most capital to acquire and essentially build a formula. These are not 22,000 accounts for marketing. These are 22,000 accounts for the Directive organization business strategy to go acquire. This is your total addressable market. So the difference of what we're doing here is every single solitary account we want in the world, we have signed off on. And now when we advertise, it's not a matter of if it's a good lead or if it's a good account. It is, we've already manually verified it's a great account. How now do we get their awareness? Now you can do out of office. Now you can do connected TV. Now you can do audio. Now you can do LinkedIn. Now you can do social. Now you can do programmatic. Why? Because every single solitary impression is going to an account that sales and marketing have both signed off on. Now we're a team and we're playing the same game together. From there, we're going to integrate to Salesforce. Imagine it's the end of Q1. You've crushed all your goals. You get to go in front of the board, the executive team, whoever you're directly reporting into. And now you're talking about market share, right? Because we're going to take that total addressable market that we've already identified. We're going to upload it to our Salesforce instance. And now we're going to pull reports out of Salesforce that says, how many meetings have we had with our TAM? Where are they in our life cycle stages of our funnel? And because of that, we're now going to grow. When I started this the very first year, I had 11,000 accounts. This is before we got to 22,000. I had 11,000. In the first 12 months, we held sales meetings with 6,800 of them. I'm going to give you all the exact copy we used, the exact campaigns, the exact structure. But in 12 months, we were able to take a massive amount of market share using this methodology. Now, we need a North Star metric. North Star metrics are what can unify an organization. And we have a saying at Directive that the depth of your solution is far more important than the breadth of your activity. But what I want you to know is when we focus, all these types of companies have different things, whether it's user growth, customer growth, growth efficiency, advocacy, engagement. Every organization grows differently. So at Directive, what we want to be able to do is have a playbook that starts to make sense. Companies with a customer-centric, data-driven marketing and sales platform improve marketing ROI by 15 to 20%. I think we all kind of know that. So think about your growth like this, okay? You have your different revenue models, right? Every one of you might have different monetization strategies. You're then going to have different business North Star metrics around how you monetize that. And then you're going to have different growth opportunities, whether your team's currently trying to take you international, whether you're launching a new product, whether you're moving up market, right? Whatever that is, we're all focused on one of these things. This is with WordPress. So you can see they want to grow their subscriptions, growth efficiency, revenue, and they're going up market, right? And so when we apply this model, we're able to get 7 times the opportunities, $41,000 less cost per opportunity, and 3 times the total contract value. It works. I get what you're saying, Garrett, but we haven't really mapped out our North Star metric yet. I think this is a really strong asset that you can use to say, hey, we have a lot of things going on, and I have never found in my life that when I do more marketing, I make more money. Universally, I always make more money when I do less marketing because I'm less distracted. In other words, your campaign's not working because you're not marketing to the right person. You don't need new messaging, new personas, new anything. You need to actually allocate your spend to the persona you think you are. Does that make sense to everybody? Like, you might think you're spending on this, but if you actually start splicing your data, you're going to find that, yeah, you've been saying you're going up market and that CMOs are critical to the decision-making process, but only 5% of spend is going to CMOs. The reason you're not getting the results you want is you're underinvested. You're not bad at marketing. Your team's not dumb. You're not slow. You're underinvested. And that gets us to financial modeling. There is nothing more important in marketing than financial modeling. So just ask yourself, where are you, right? You can look at this for a second. You've got this nascent, you got sophisticated, right? So many of us are here. Our basic analytics are not set up and we have trouble checking leads to deals, right? Let's be real. Many of us are right there. I have got, I think, 120 tech companies, all of which are publicly traded or at least well along in their series. They're mostly all disconnected. Some are at proxy, some are at connected, but we all need to get to the point of advanced. Advanced is where we get to efficiency, right? I think Directive has a $3.8 million marketing budget with an 8-person team. So first thing we're going to do is we got to gather our numbers. This is a tool all of you have access to as Directive customers. You can start to use this tool. And when you do it, we're going to track your channels, okay? So we want to start to see, if you can look here, we want to start to figure out what I call a filter stage, okay? Every one of you has a filter stage. The filter stage is the moment that marketing to sales does a handoff and sales decides if they're going to progress it or not. But once you get in here, start to master your filter stage, okay? It's not just your LTV CAC ratio. LTV CAC is great, but many of us in this room are currently focused on decreasing CAC. But if you're decreasing CAC, I guarantee you you're decreasing LTV. This is not B2C. We're not selling widgets and we don't need more volume. Your most expensive customer is often your most valuable customer. If you pursue lowering CAC, you are going to subconsciously lower LTV and not even realize it. We use first touch attribution on HubSpot. I just want to know what got someone from apathy to action. Now, I can still run U-based, position-based, last touch, and I can look at all the different models, but when you're doing your modeling, use first touch because it's a much healthier understanding of when you spend your money, what do you get from it? But I want to know how much to spend on it based on first touch. Those are two different things. In other words, analysis, I'm going to use multiple attribution models. Modeling standpoint, just to do my capital allocation, I'm going to try to do on first touch. And then I'm going to still layer it to make sure my hypotheses are correct. And then I want to forecast it out. One of the hardest parts we have in marketing and why we don't always get the respect we deserve is we can't talk about tomorrow very well. So we want to get beyond, here's what we're doing in Q1 to here's what we're doing in 2023. The tool's here. So all you should get this deck at the end. And you all can play with it and use the tool. I've built some stuff with our finance department as well as and this will allow you to actually see when you work with finance if you have the spend you require. I think one of the hardest things to learn in marketing is when you say yes to a number or a budget that is impractical. Let's dance. I can't give you that goal. I can't give you that budget. I understand. Well, I can't accept that goal. Now we're having professional conversations with our peers, and we're not doing it off of opinion. We're doing it with a third-party asset that does the math. This is powerful and it's huge for your career. Accepting goals you can't accomplish crushes you. You lose internal protection. You lose the game. Sales starts weeding out your budget, and you start to lose. So ask your consultant, ask your team. We have anonymized data across over 250 accounts in tech that will tell you exactly what you can expect in every industry. So if we don't have data, we can use this as a placeholder to build out our forecast and build out our projections so you're not just guessing. Now we're ready to actually tactically go to market. This is what we live in, and it's hard. I'm talking to so many people right now that are so talented and will completely fail their goals because their channels are wrong. It's that simple. Nothing to do with their brand, their positioning, their budget, nothing. The channel doesn't make sense, Okay, so we live in this world where we can run Google ads, we can do SEO, we can do all these things, and it's great because it has intent. But who here has tried to like take a query that's working, add the word enterprise to it, and seen volume just fall off a cliff? Now leads don't work. Nothing's coming in. So we go back to ERP software. We're like, tell sales, look, you're going to have to sift through some bad ones. There's nothing we can do about it. And we get stuck, but still 70% of our spend is going to search. That's what's happening. I'm talking to people with $1 million budgets, $600,000 budgets a month. 70% of the budget's still going to search, and they tell me they want to go up market. Those two things are in direct conflict with each other. Why do they say that? Because conversely, they've spent on social, they had a high CPA, and they had no intent. In other words, I can market to the right person, but I can't get them to a demo because they're not in market, and my Bombora data ain't crap. So instead of relying on intent, I need to create intent. I need to go from having a victim mentality where I can't get a human from apathy to action to a powerful mentality that says, I am capable of articulating my value to my ideal customer persona, and I'm able to leverage an incentive that says, while I might not be in market, your message is so relevant that I'm willing to give you some part of my time to hear your pitch. So what we decided to do about it was a little bit of luck. My head of marketing at the time messed up her Sendoso contract. Anyone here have Sendoso? Something similar? It's a use it or lose it contract. I did not know that at the time. So she had $15,000 in credits and the renewal was the next day. And she didn't know what to do and she felt horrible. And I was like, all right, this is weird. You've negotiated. She's like, yeah, they aren't budget. I'm like, all right. She's like, what if we just gave away gift cards and we have these campaigns we're already running on Convo ads, but we're having a hard time getting people to a meeting. What if we pay them for the meeting? And I was like, let's do it. That completely changed our business. In 2021, I haven't got the data from finance yet in 2022, but we spent over $350,000 on gift cards in 2021. It works, okay? And what we decided to do was use this as an incentive. In other words, if I don't have intent and this person isn't in market, how do I get them to hear my pitch? How do I get them to a sales meeting? Now I can confidently say that our entire sales org wakes up and they got 5 calls on their calendar every morning with a named account. That's what we're dreaming of here in this game. And what we're all doing, the dream is sales wakes up in the morning with a calendar full of named accounts, ready to hear our pitch. And we can do that, okay? So first thing we're doing is decide on the offer. I'm gonna show you a little data on this. You're already paying for the impression and the click, but that isn't where we actually cost is incurred in marketing and B2B. The cost in B2B that's incurred comes from the down funnel costs of not getting someone to a sales moment. And then one of the lines you're gonna wanna teach your sales org is how to address the fact, which they're gonna say is, what if people just want the gift card? You're gonna hear it. And what you teach sales to say is this little line. Mike, I'm so excited to talk to you. It's great. Obviously, you're a successful CMO. You don't need $100. So what made you think this was so valuable for your time today? How can I help you? Now, they say they want the gift card. They're cheap. And now you've got 35, 45 minutes to pitch them. That's the game we're playing. We need to get a human who we knows in market, who fits our persona, that we've manually verified comes from an account we want. We need to tell them about our company. That's sales. It's not demos, baby. We need to do sales. And this is how you do it. Now, we use Sendoso for gift sending. It works. It's easy. You can deliver it. Your team will understand it. You can integrate it to Salesforce so they can send the gift straightly from Salesforce. And this is the exact copy. So this is the exact copy we use to essentially, the team will probably do 22 million in bookings off of this copy. Then from there, we're using a tool like Chili Piper or Calendly. So what we're doing here is essentially once you convert on a Convo ad or a lead gen ad on LinkedIn, your information's pre-filled, okay? So you have pre-filled information, and then you hit submit, and then the very next step is the booking moment. I need you to book. If I follow up with you to an action you've already taken, my meeting rate attendance skyrockets. In other words, SDRs or your marketing automation following up with someone who's made a psychological commitment is exponentially important with following up with someone to create a commitment. Those are two fundamentally different types of follow-up. So I need you to commit to the meeting. That's the critical part of the psychology here. I want to show you some data on it. I didn't start this way. We had a 34% form fill to intro held attendance rate without Chili Piper. With it, we're at 51%. It's like one of the cheapest tools in our tech stack, and it works exceptionally well. So get yourself an auto booking function. And then we got to train our team. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people roll out this campaign and they let SDRs take the first call. So I'm always trying to remove variables that decrease my control. while still empowering my team, I want to make sure I can monetize my efforts. So we use the intro call deck, and then that standardized and essentially raised the floor of our sales org to be able to monetize the campaigns. We did a couple other things. So I'm going to give you some practical little tactics you can take away. So a hype video, which I'm going to show you. Hype video is huge. In other words, how do I get someone from wanting the gift card to wanting directive? Psychologically, that's what I'm trying to do. You came in, you committed to the meeting because of the gift card, but now I want you excited about directive, okay? That's one of the things. The other thing is we stopped doing Monday mornings and Friday afternoons. Who here likes Monday morning and Friday afternoon meetings? Yeah, okay? Stop spending your hard-earned money to get people to a meeting they don't want to show up at and you're already behind, okay? And we added the hype video. The hype video changed everything. If you've worked with Ryan Young here, he's phenomenal. Little round of applause for Ryan Young behind the camera. And I want to show you all the video he did to help people show up. In other words, you got the gift card, you converted. This is the first thing you get in our marketing automation to encourage you to attend the moment. That little video ideally will evoke emotion, confidence, which is what I'm trying to create. But we got to unlock Facebook. We got to unlock Instagram. We have to be able to unlock the daily platforms everyone uses. And when you bring a technical B2B technology company to programmatic, connected TV, and essentially, let's say like consumer social, like the Meta products, it stands out and it works exceptionally well. We have some of our largest engagements come from Facebook ads to CMOs of publicly traded companies, all of you know, come from our Facebook campaigns. Now, lastly, I think this is critically important and the hardest part of the game, and many of you might not be in a position of power to affect this, but I at least think you need to be aware of it because we are all a part of, like, our success is all codependent on what I'm going to talk about next, which is product, sales, and marketing working together. So what I want to show you is where most of us are today, which is we're in this siloed environment where we have sales owning revenue, marketing owning awareness and leads, and product owning engagement and retention. This is where I want us to be, where they're all integrated. I like this quote from Andrew Bosworth. He says the best product doesn't always win, the one everyone uses wins. Now, what I found is many of us want these three groups to overlap, but we haven't put anyone in charge of owning it, okay? So what I would argue is you need someone to own the intersection of all three, and we call this our innovation team. So we have a full-time owner who actually sits between what services we're going to offer and what our viewpoint is on them, what our sales organization is selling, and what our marketing is doing awareness and leads and branding on, all integrated into one team. When they all work together, now we're able to make sure that the services we offer are already demanded by the persona we own. The hardest part about product innovation is they almost always do it ancillary to become multi-threaded. In other words, your company is great at serving the director of demand gen, but now they want to go get brand managers. I'll tell you right now, those are two different buyers and they're not always on the same team. They don't always share the same budget, and it sure as hell ain't easy to go get them. And that's where we lose. We don't lose because the concept's wrong. It's because we've built our entire brand around a relationship with this human, and now they want to go get that human, but we don't know that human yet. We haven't put the investment into that human. We haven't drawn awareness to that human, and everything falls apart. And so what we like to do is make sure we have someone owning the middle of them, And then we come up with what we call our directive operating system. So I'm just giving you a little bit of inside baseball here, but I think it's really important because you can do all the tactics, you can do all the campaigns, but you still need a unified team and group to take it to market and work together. So we call it people product marketing. So we have to have the people to own the actual rollout, the product that works, the marketing. Then it goes to sales, to onboarding the project, to continued success. And we want to map out the entire life cycle journey of our team, right? And then we have to actually be able to train our people. We have to have the tech to enable them. And then we have to be able to continue the success, right? We have to be able to have bi-weekly meetings, monthly meetings, QBRs, renewals. We need NSMs, MPS, referrals, growth. And now as marketers, we can look at this whole thing and say, where do we allocate our time, energy, and resources to see where we're going to activate growth? But once you can map out your value chain, now you can see where you're missing parts of your campaigns. So it should ideally look like this, where you have an R&D department. In our case, it's our own marketing. That can then translate to the product, which is the services we offer you, which then can go to educating and involving the people doing it because they do need to be trained on it. And then that can go into a formal learning and development program we have, which then creates a rollout and we introduce to the customers. But if you can do it all together, now marketing is a part of the business strategy instead of being at the outside of the business strategy who gets this finished product that ends up not being marketable. And then you can manage this in a weekly or monthly meeting. We do this oftentimes right now weekly, where we get product, ops, sales, and marketing all together, and we all hold each other accountable. And that's the meeting I sit in and run to make sure that we're rolling out the services our customers need, that we have the marketing to support it, the education to train it, and we can actually successfully do it. And it's not just like marketing trying their hardest, product trying their hardest, sales trying their hardest, but instead everyone working together. And that's critically important. So in closing, it works. It's worth it. I highly encourage you to push yourself towards this TAM-based environment, to holding your team accountable to a singular North Star metric that sales and marketing shares, to building out financial models so you don't accept goals that you can never accomplish, to using gift cards and incentives to get humans from apathy to action, and to build unified teams so when you go to market, things all work together. So thank you so much. If you'd like to learn more about customer generation, Brady and I do a show every week called Original Marketing. It's pretty fun. If you haven't seen it before, it's on YouTube. It's a cool little show. We break down ads and campaigns we love, and then we build a marketing strategy for a random business every week. It's a fun thing. If you watch, you'll get plenty of ideas you can take to your own business. And thank you. Really appreciate it.